Greetings, this is Melek Shalama of Melek Shalama Capital LLC. Right now I'm in a live trade on ESPA account on Apex. Just got my take profit at 6,675. So we took this trade here from, let's see, right? So entry point was 66.15.25. So it was basically a breakdown of, let's see here. Let me just pull it back. So I was taking a couple other trades as well. Let me just load this down in the background. All right. So I was taking a couple trades here on this little distribution at Camarilla S3. So it's basically a retest of Camarilla S3. And I have to do some more videos that kind of more detail how my strategy is set up. So basically this is a distribution pattern here on a retracement back to Camarilla S3, right? Camarilla S3 and the central pivot is right there. That's the monthly value area low. That's the monthly central pivot. And that's the sign of weakness on a daily distribution level. So basically it's one of the lowest levels on the distribution on the daily chart, and it's basically retesting this level around here. Now we have VPOC. This is the weekly session VPOC so far. That's 115 hours VPOC, which is basically like a week. And this is the VPOC from the ETH session. Before we start, just before we started the RTH session, this is where the ETH VPOC was. That's 2-week VPOC. And yeah, that's just a bunch of yesterday's VWAP and VPOC. So it's a kind of heavy volume area, right? So we're basically retesting. And let me just do this real quick so you could have some more clarity into what I'm showing you. All right, so basically this could be considered the buying climax. So we're dealing with Wyckoff theory right here, right? So basically this is a buying climax, which is basically a high volume up trust, right? It's a high volume momentum move to the upside, right? You start getting sellers at the top, right? They're running into liquidity on the offer. It's pulling back. This is considered the automatic reaction, right? This is ETH VWAP right here, right? So we retest ETH VWAP. This is first lower deviation. This is RTH VWAP, right? So we're in distributive territory here in the upper deviations of the VWAP bands, right? So we get a retest here, or the automatic reaction, as it's called in the Wyckoff theory. Automatic reaction is the response from the buying climax, right? It's usually, what I've noticed, it's usually around 6 to 10 points. So we get up to around 66.30. We come back down to around 66.11.50, right? So it's a little wider on the automatic reaction here, right? So it's more volatile. We get the push up, right? So what usually happens here, this is like a secondary test, right? So we get a secondary test of this level. We get a little pullback to the first upper deviation here again. And then we get the uptrust on high volume, right? We also get the volume point of control, this light blue line moving up, signifying that this is the highest volume area in the session so far from the RTH session. So we get that high volume move, uptrust into high liquidity on the offer. Let's just pull that down. Right, so we run into this high liquidity on the offer. Again, it's similar to the buying climax. You run into liquidity on a heavy momentum move on high volume, right? We get another high volume secondary test here. No follow through, right? So you got to observe these things. High volume, no follow through, lower than the buying climax, right? Then you get this another test here on basically low volume, but this volume could be associated with it as well. So it's lower volume, we get a little higher, and we start getting absorbed by the offer, right? This is also second upper deviation. So what I've noticed is 2.5 upper deviation usually gives a good pullback. So you see buying climax is 2.5 upper deviation. It comes back to the first, right? Now we get up to the second upper deviation. We start getting exhaustion, absorption from the offer. We pull back a little bit. This is the market profile, the RTH POC right there, right? That's the POC, right? We run into this VPOC here that migrates upwards. This is ETH VPOC. I know this is a lot, right? But I'm just running through quickly of how I read the market, right? So volume point of control migrates upward, right? We get this up trust move into high liquidity up here on the offer, heavy volume, pullback, right? And we start getting this sellers are taking over. Basically, this was a retracement here into high liquidity, right? You see the liquidity right there. Sellers start taking control, enter trades, exit, enter, exit, and I'm making mistakes here, right? Because I should just hold, but I was in the hole, right, on the day, and basically didn't want to make the red day even bigger. So I'm kind of fidgety and exiting the trade when I get a little profit, or I close the gap on the red day, right? So enter in trades, eventually catch this. This was the last trade here, I think. Yeah, this one, yeah, 66.15.75, I think. So enter that one right there. It's basically a London session and ETH session VWAP breakdown, right? We already got this, and remember I told you about the 2.5 upper deviation. We even excel above that. We got to the 3.0. That's definitely going to be a rejection up there on the up trust. So all of this taken into consideration, we got the offer replenishing here after absorbing the buyers on the up trust. Offer is here again. Offer is stepping down. Offer is stepping down. Liquidity is stepping down. And let's just open this up here so you could get a better view of the breakdown. Right, so last entry was here. So all of these are profitable trades, right? They're just pulling back a little bit, kind of giving back some on this one right here, this entry, right? Sell entry, little pullback, probably a little loss right there, sell entry, right? So held this one here, decided to listen, I gotta calm down, gotta just take the trade. If I end up on a red day, it's a red day. That's what it is, right? So the best loser wins in this game, right? According to Tom Hogard or something like that, his name is. Check out his book, The Best Loser Wins. So had to calm down, just hold the trade, right? Let the trade play out, When we're running into VWAP and the weekly POC, I'm looking at if there's aggressive sellers breaking through VWAP. VWAP is the green line right there. Heavy sellers push through, so I got comfortable. I relaxed a little more, and let me just open this a little bit more. Right, so I just want to point out that this is the trailing stop, right? So it's trailing 4 points after 8 points is achieved in the trade, right? So we're trailing by 4 points here. Aggressive sellers through VWAP. This is good. And I have this green rectangle right here in this area because of this. This is an accumulation and distribution indicator. And this shows that this level here, 6606, has received 18 touches of support in the past sessions, right? So that's an indicator from quantum trading that I have, and I just put the number from its own trading view, right? So I just move it over here. I place a column note of how much times this has been touched. So I'm also looking at this here, and you see there's liquidity just under it at 6605. So I'm looking at how aggressive the sellers are, if they're gonna get support here, bounce here again. No aggressive, no retracement, no buyers stepping in, aggressive sellers in charge. Volume is actually rising, right? So good to go. trailing stop was here the last time. I put my target. The last time it trailed down was up to around this point, 66 or 650 roughly, and basically it just ran down to my take profit here. I think you saw that on the beginning of the video. So I just put it just above this heavy liquidity here and Camarilla S4, which is a support level. So we do a stop run below and we start getting buyers at Camarilla S4. Right, so that's basically the trade there, just breaking down the distribution pattern, Wyckoff distribution. It's breaking from basically Camarilla S3 to Camarilla S4. So let me just see where. Right, so this is Camarilla S3 right here. Let's open it up a little more. Right, Camarilla S3. I already pointed out all of this volume basically volume zone. This high volume zone right here is yesterday's VPOC, all kind of stuff right here, right? Yesterday's VWAP, yesterday's VPOC. So we basically came back, retested this high volume area, Camarilla S3 breakdown, first upper deviation breakdown, and start taking the trades there down to Camarilla S4. Right, so that's basically the trade. It's Melek Shalama. You all trade safe and stay blessed.